You don't know it yet, but that deal you're working is about to die. He's going to kill it with a simple whisper of doubt. In the industry of sales, the industry that never sleeps, a shadow waits, watching, ready for his sacred code to be broken.
The Sales Reaper. I saw him in there. He killed that deal.
The sacred sales texts say they're called the 5 Fatalities. The Reaper uses them to kill more and more deals every single year until the entire industry is in ruin. It says we have to use the Code of Commerce to figure out how to keep deals from falling at the hands of the Reaper.
This doesn't make any sense, Harper. There's no possible way we can beat him.
We've got to get this out to the world, or he's not going to allow anyone to ever hit quota again.
Can you hear it? The whispers of deals dying. This Halloween, learn just how the Sales Reaper paralyzes prospects and turns deals to dust. If you dare.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fatality Friday. Appreciate you spending some time with us this afternoon or this morning or this evening, depending on where you are in the world. I'm Scott Leese. I have partnered with some of my dear friends, Ryan Walker, David Bonney, and Jocelyn Arnett, to bring you Fatality Friday, the Sales Reaper series, part of the sales process operating system, which is all under the banner of GTM United, which is a community that Ryan and I built, designed to help people level up their skills, network, get coaching, training, live events, find new jobs, do some referral selling, work on this go-to-network motion. And the arm under Go-to-Market United of training and coaching is the sales process operating system. And we're going to talk to you today about the Sales Reaper series, the brainchild of my friend David Bonney, and the 5 fatalities and how they're killing your deals. So we'll spend some time diving into the agenda. Ryan, take it away, man. Walk people through what we're going to cover today.
Let's rock. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us today. I'm stoked. As Scott said, we have a killer group of people together for you every Friday, coming live at noon Central Standard Time. And we'll walk a little bit through the exact agenda that we're going to go through on a weekly basis. Today's going to be a little bit different just because this is our first go at it. And it's our first time going live. And it's awesome to see so many people showing up, even though we just put this thing out a few days ago. So the syndicate, this is the conglomeration of all of the folks that are together fighting for the betterment of our industry and our profession. There's a lot happening in the sales world right now. There's a lot happening in the startup environment right now. And our mission and our focus is to help empower reps, teams, and leaders to find the tools and resources they need to own their success. And a lot of what we're doing through the Go-to-Market United community, a lot of the work that we're doing within Sales Process Operating System is all in service of that. So we're stoked to be with you. And let's run through the agenda real quick here. So we're going to go through a little bit of the details around why we're doing this, why we're running this weekly event for y'all. We're going to jump into the 5 fatalities that Scott mentioned. There are 5 reasons that you can associate all of your deals dying to. And David's going to walk through each one of those, how they impact you. And we're going to go through an exercise that we can do as a group, you can do as individuals, and we're going to do hopefully as a staple on a recurring basis on this live stream to help identify where in your pipeline, where in your funnel these individual fatalities are breaking down your conversion rate and what you can do to actually fix that. So that's going to be super fun, interactive on a weekly basis. We're going to have folks come up, share their funnels, and we're going to give you some very specific and pointed feedback as to how you can tackle this stuff. And last but not least, most of y'all have seen this already, but we're going to be walking through the first episode of the Sales Reaper series that we put out yesterday. We have led up the last 3 weeks on Thursday, putting out the first 2 trailers, and yesterday for the first time, we released episode 1. So that's what we're going to get into over the next hour. This quote, is something that was a catalyst to why we wanted to start this live stream and why we wanted to push the agenda around individual empowerment for sales reps. In the Salesforce State of Sales report last year, less than 30% of sellers expect their team to hit full quota this year. We have a strong belief that this is not just a macroeconomic environment that's causing difficulties in the ability for teams and reps to hit quota. It is a systematic failure to be able to provide salespeople with the tools and the resources necessary in order to find their own success, which is, again, the impetus for why we wanted to even start this thing in the first place. David, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about this as well.
Yeah, I mean, at least, from my perspective, and I know we talk about this stuff a ton, but guys, like, our opinion is that this issue that is going on right now is absolutely what Ryan said, but at a deeper level, it's really because there's just a lack of control over the ability to drive and get results in the sales function. And that lack of control, we believe is systematic, right? It's this, everybody's out there just kind of doing their own thing. There's no way of understanding what they're doing and what results it should produce, which is why we have the sales process operating system. But at a deeper level, we look at this, and this issue is, it falls on us as leaders, but it also falls on us as reps. And the reason why is because our goals, guys, if we're running our sales operations correctly, our goals should be a strategic forecast of outcomes that we can predictably produce with a plus minus variable there. And when we say strategic forecast, that's the big thing that we go through in our services. We need to know our historical numbers. We need to understand the key conversion KPIs, and then we need to understand what's causing the key conversion KPIs to not be producing at the level that we know they should be. And then we strategically start to create plans that are going to improve the performance from stage to stage. And that should allow us to be able to set goals that are not only achievable because they're based off of historical performance, but they're improved by specific strategies that everybody understands. This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. And this is how we're going to know if it worked or not, because this number should improve. Right? But there's just a systemic failure operationally that we see so much. And it really just causes a lot of issues where salespeople, even if you think you're doing a great job, we're just losing. Sales leaders, you're doing a great job. You feel like we're squeezing, blood from a rock right now. But the organization continues to just tell us that we're losing. And it doesn't have to be that way, because if we can get control over our overarching funnel and strategy, we can actually start to improve the results. We can actually get to the results that we need to strategically and methodically. So, it can be tough to be on this side and understand that and have these systems that we learned, being a part of those big venture capital and private equity worlds where they force this stuff to happen. But, it just hurts when we see all of our people out there suffering from this and these numbers come out and we know that there's a better way.
And if we can arm people with the resources and the tools they need to understand where and why the funnel is breaking down, then you can be proactive and not reactive about how it is that you're solving for those blockers. And that's just something that is really, I think, a major gap in enablement across almost every single sales organization that I've seen or been a part of over the course of my career. And the more that we can do to operationalize that and simplify it and get clear on what we're marching towards and where we can take down these blockers in our funnel, the better off that we're all going to be. But you cannot improve the results until you understand what's causing the reason why your conversion rate's dropping. And for those of you that have seen the Sales Reaper series, you'll know this guy Fitz.
He's handsome. That's a handsome man right there. Tell you what.
One of my favorite.
We have a question from Spencer Talley, going back to the statistic that you had up, DB. when reps miss quota at this rate, what do the conversations with sales leaders and execs look like? Meaning there's no way company growth can be on track if sales is so far off, right?
Yeah. So let's, because I did explicitly say that, right, Spencer? And I love the question. I explicitly said it's on us as reps too, right? Because we need to have control, right? And this is the foundation. This is one of the first things that we teach in our programs. The first thing that we need to be able to do is understand our numbers, understand where the biggest drop off is happening in conversion, and then from there, starting to create strategic plans on how to improve that. So my historical performance is X. Based on that performance, my expected lead flow or my expected discovery call generation or meeting generation is Y. Based on that historical performance, this is the output I should be able to expect, Mr. or Mrs. Leader. Can we please work together to figure out where in my funnel, not over, you just need to close more. You need to create more urgency. What the hell is that? Right? You need to make more dials. What does that matter if my dials aren't converting, right? Where in my funnel specifically and strategically am I having drop off, and how can we now come together and collaborate? How can I use content, right? Like we are giving you guys here to be able to take those systems and take those tactics and specifically apply them to my funnel so I can now see that incremental improvement. But we need to get we need to start creating strategic plans of improvement, and our performance as salespeople and sales teams should be improving every month, every quarter, because we're always building on our systems and playbooks, repeatable playbooks that create predictable results. Now, from there, you know what that looks like, right? If I'm now a leader and I'm doing that at a macro level for my team, then I'm talking to the executive team or my CEO, which I had to do all the time, and say, okay, based on how this engine can perform now, this is what I think it can produce. We're going to apply these strategies that I've learned from Scott and Ryan and everybody else. And now based on these strategies, we're going to be able to create this type of outcome. But there's still a gap. So now we need to figure out where to get it as well. But it's much more methodical and strategic versus, Scott, you know this all the time, right? You talk about it, right? The CEO or the exec team comes down and says, boop, here's a number. Go make it happen. We have to. And there's no back and forth. And you preach the back and forth more than anybody. And I love that. As sales leaders, we have to take control over that conversation and turn it into back and forth so we can bring them into our world and our realities. Now, that might be a big indication for you guys not to ask another question, because like I'm gonna go on about this stuff, and like this webinar is gonna be over after like 2 more questions. So I apologize, but you'll get me on my soapbox.
So one thing one thing I'm going to call out first before we get to this point, really belabor the point. One of the points that David's making is, what good is it to focus explicitly on top of funnel, outbound prospecting, more opportunities in top of funnel if you are fumbling the bag when you actually get on a conversation with a prospect, or you are unable to effectively methodically progress an opportunity through opportunity stages that are explicitly focused on positive outcomes for that buyer. Like if you are literally just pouring water into a leaky bucket, I don't know why you're going to expect something different. The other aspect of this that's on the screen right now is the goal is to convert a higher percentage of the opportunities that you should be closing. Because while we're going to show you these 5 fatalities, these 5 reasons why all of your deals are dying, that doesn't necessarily mean, even if you are super proactive about handling all of this stuff before it bubbles up at the end of a conversation, you get ghosted, that doesn't mean that those are going to close. Not every opportunity is a good fit opportunity. The fact of the matter is the overwhelming majority of sales reps and sales teams are missing out on low-hanging fruit in terms of losing opportunities that they should be winning. And customers, if you have a product or a service that solves real problems for the people that you're selling it to, you are doing yourself and you are doing your customers a disservice if you are not effectively having these conversations. So you'll see this in what we're talking about with individual funnels and the strategic plan that David was talking about. But if you can get incremental increases in conversion at each stage of your funnel, your results will compound and you'll have exponentially higher percent to target, and you'll be able to just have a lot more success than what you're realizing now. It pains me when good fit opportunities fly out the window, go to competition, get lost in no decision, get ghosted, stay at status quo, just because the salesperson was unable to effectively run a process that gets to the root cause of what's causing pain and how to solve for it, regardless of whether they're working with that individual company or finding their own internal resources to tap into or working with a competitor. So,
Matthew, I see your question. That is absolutely something we'll walk through here shortly through some of the content that David has put together.
It's awesome.
So Dave's going to jump into this. Before he does, we thought, just like the intro for y'all that caught it, we'd rather show you rather than tell you. But the fact of the matter is, these 5 fatalities are the things that are killing your pipeline. And
I lost everything. My company, my family. I still don't understand what killed that deal.
He's lurking, and you act as if you don't care. You act as if it's not going to happen. He's killed before, and he's about to kill again.
I told you, they're called the 5 fatalities. It's all in the sacred sales texts. The first fatality is timing. The Reaper sows a seed of doubt in the prospect's mind that solving a problem isn't a priority right now. Once other priorities are moved ahead of it, the deal turns to dust.
Harper, should you be reading that? What if the Reaper finds out?
You cannot consider a cure until you fully understand the disease. It is you, Harper, the one with a fascination of death. You hold the fate of sales in your hands.
There's the 5 fatalities right there for everybody. Walk them through them, Ryan.
I think David's going to kick this off.
Oh, David, walk them through them. Walk them through them.
Do it. That doesn't get your heart rate going, guys. Got skulls. Oh man. All right. So let's bring this back into context to what we were talking about, guys. You know, when we're talking about the 5 fatalities, you know, why is this part of what it is that we teach such a prevalent part, right? That we've got a series around it, that we're doing this weekly meeting around it. Well, these are the things that are destroying conversion rates across an individual sales rep's funnel or broadly a sales team's funnel. Okay. So I'm going to give you some examples as we go through this so we can start to create that connective tissue. That's what this stuff is all about, right? So the first thing is timing. Okay. Timing is a belief that it's not the right time to invest or that other priorities take precedence. This is not that big of an issue. I'm looking at this, but there's still some ambiguity or a lack of clarity around the pain that this is really causing, which causes me to rationalize the problems that I'm experiencing. And that rationalization drives me into avoidance of my problems. That's the buyer psychology that you guys might not be aware of. This is why they end up ghosting us, right? So when we look at our funnel, well, we're getting meetings scheduled, but what if they're not attending, right? If they're not attending, they thought it was important enough to schedule time, but it's not important enough to actually show up. We got to be able to get our messaging correct. We need our sequences in between to really get dialed in around this. If they're showing up to our discovery meetings and we're running discovery, let's just say we're in a 2-call close process, and they don't show up for the proposal call or they don't want to schedule a proposal call, it's because we haven't built clarity around the urgency that they need to have to solve these problems, to eliminate the pain that currently exists that they're actively trying to avoid. So when we look at that conversion rate, well, okay, now I can look at a sales rep or a sales team's funnel and I can start to see this, and those numbers will tell me how good we're doing at this. And if we're not, we need to dive into this specific fatality and get better at our execution. And as soon as we get our prospects to be far more motivated, prioritize this problem, and have more urgency to go to the next step, our time to close goes down, right? The speed of our sales cycle, the completion of the entire sales cycle goes up, and then we can continue to move on. But that's just right at the top of the funnel. So that's the first fatality, timing. All right, second fatality, price. Prospects may feel that our offering is too expensive or beyond their budget, right? We talked about this a ton. We have the price objections trinity. There's 3 specific things that we need to be doing in our sales process. Price should never be an issue in your sales process. You should be desensitizing their feelings towards price by the time you ever get to that point. But when we don't do that, right, in the absence of information, prospects make up their own. So before we get to price, they're already going to have some idea of how much they think it's going to cost. And I can guarantee you guys, the information that they make up on your price is not going to be favorable to you. They're going to think it's cheaper. They're going to think it's less. You need to have a process that you can execute that gets them thinking that this is going to be crazy expensive. I don't know if we can afford this. I hope we can afford it. I hope it's not too expensive. And then we throw a number on them and they just, exhale, right? Now, when we do this, we're going to see more of these deals as we're creating value and ROI, as we're executing effectively. Now, all of a sudden, we see more of these discovery calls move on to proposals, and more of those proposals move on to negotiated stage, if we're doing this correctly. All right, next one. Competition. Now, this one's a little different. Most people think competition is the other vendors in our space. It can be, but the majority of the time, the biggest competitor that you guys need to deal with is the internal or existing resources, or a previous vendor that they've used before. Okay, so we're going through, we've bubbled up the problem, we bubbled up urgency, and now all of a sudden they're going to take action on this. Well, what's the easiest way to take action? What's the fastest way to take action, guys? To use the existing set of resources that I already have.
Do it your damn self.
Do it your dang self. Right? Can I get an amen, Josh? She said I sounded like a preacher in the chat, so I had to hit her with it. Okay, so we're going through and we're addressing this issue. We need to address this right up front. And if we do not, I can promise you guys there's this hidden fatality that's going out there. You guys never know about it because they won't ever tell you. They'll either take your proposal and throw it over to their existing vendor. They'll take your proposal and throw it over to their existing person. Or right after that call, they'll have that employee in their office saying, we need you to spin up a plan to do X, Y, Z. This is what the sales rep told me they do. Go get going on it. And if it doesn't work, maybe then we'll go buy something else. But that's our fault. That's not their issue. They're not dumb. They're just trying to solve their problems. We're not detaching them from why their existing resources don't work, because if they could have, they would have, right? All right. And again, guys, going back to the funnel, hopefully you're seeing that, right? If we're detaching them from that, more of these people are going to continue to come through. They'll be at the proposal stage because they know they can't figure this out. They'll move into negotiating, etc. All right, now we got product fit, okay? Now this is usually where people are like, oh, this is competition. Is it really competition? Or are they not clear on how your actual product offering solves the actual problems causing their pain, not the surface level problems they bring into the conversation? Our prospects are incompetent in the area where they're experiencing the most pain. They're great at what they do. They're not great at what they need help from us at. If they were, they wouldn't be in pain. Think about anything you guys are great at. You don't experience high levels of pain in it, because as soon as the little problems start to fray, you go in there and you quickly solve them. Usually the majority of our pain exists in the areas that we are incompetent in, because we just let it go and we let it go and we let it go, right? So when we have to go in and raise that problem awareness, this is the actual problem. If we can't create that connective tissue with a simple to understand and easy to understand solution, right? Not these long demos and these diatribes about all these features that they don't care about. I don't care about your features. Will they solve my problems? Yes or no? Because if you deliver all those features and my problems are still here, I'm still going to come back to you and say, what the heck happened, right? We have to have that product fit there. That is so very important. But most of us, being feature preachers or being so enamored by what we offer, we're just confusing the hell out of people that aren't very skilled and very knowledgeable about what we do to begin with. So product fit, killing stuff all the time. All right, now, last one is trust. Okay, and this is such an easy one. It's so rough when we run into this. Most companies in their product presentation, they're just not focusing on establishing high levels of trust. Now, trust also comes from the process that we take people through. when you guys are out there, just Wild Westing, saying, oh, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to start asking questions, get them to know, like, and trust me, see if they want to go grab a beer with me. That's how we're going to close these guys. That decreases trust. Just because I want to go get a beer with my doctor does not mean I am okay with him performing surgery on my shoulder. He better know what the hell he's talking about if he's going to perform surgery on my shoulder. This no like and trust stuff has gotten all out of whack, in our opinion, right? This is all about have we established with our process that we're a trusted advisor. We talk about this all the time, right? Date or doctor visit. Are you trying to court your prospects? If you're trying to, they don't want to be courted. They're in pain. They need help, but you're over here trying to court them, right? Is it a date or is this a doctor visit? Are you actually trying to help them get healthy? Are you trying to help them get to the other side of their pain? Most salespeople, they're on dates. They're trying to court the heck out of people. And just like you guys would, if you were a doctor and you felt like they were trying to get you to like them and get you to accept their treatment, you'd be skeptical as hell about them, right? This trust, it decays if we don't run an effective process designed to help them solve the very problems that they are spending energy actively trying to solve. And then the trust comes down to the company, right? It's not just the salesperson, it's also the company's credibility. Can we do it? Have we done it? All that good stuff. All this stuff should be baked into what we're doing, but it's not. And when it's not, in the absence of information, people, what do they do? Make up their freaking own. And I can promise you guys, you don't want them making it. You don't have any control over what the outcomes are if you're allowing your prospects to fill in these gaps. Just fill in the gaps for them. So, from doubt to death, very poetic. Very, very poetic. This, guys, is the one of the things that happens that we don't even realize is as soon as we start our sales process, from the moment we start our sales process and we can continue to go through it, when we don't button up our execution across the three milestones of the code of commerce that we talk about in our videos, right? But it's the three milestones. If we're not actively trying to hit these things, these fatalities, they're starting to sow as seeds of doubt in our prospect. And those seeds of doubt just continue to grow throughout the entire interaction. And you hear about them moving on right at the, 11th hour, 23rd hour, whatever it is, right at the end. But those seeds of doubt were planted long ago, and they were just growing the entire time. And why? Because you allowed them to, right? We allowed them to, people, by not being proactive and eliminating these things like we should be. Sorry, go ahead.
Not only that, but then you find yourself at the end of a sales process operating off of hopium that something's going to close. And when you do inevitably run into these objections, the immediate visceral reaction is, well, now I can combat it. I can overcome it. All is going to be great. They're going to close. That's not what happens. Like the decision is made well before you're in a situation where you're trying to lob a discount over the finish line at the end of the month in order to get a contract closed. Like you already lost that deal a long time ago because you did not have a process that methodically walked you through the questions that will collect the information that you need in order to drive them to a confident decision. You're leaving too much ambiguity, and it just causes time and time again these reactive battles that waste so much time and get hopes up and inevitably crush people's dreams and commission checks at the end of the month.
And then if we can, right, let's just we're talking about clarity here. Let's just try to bring the connective tissue through. We have these 5 fatalities that will go away if we can just hit the milestones. Well, we can hit the milestones with progression pathways and a playbook, like Ryan said, with a consistent set of questions at a high level that at least put us in position to get the information. This is not a script. It's a freaking playbook. All professional athletes have playbooks. We're professional salespeople. We need a playbook that puts us in position to score, right? So we start getting the information, right? We don't close every deal. We're never going to close 100% of the deals. If you are, you're not generating enough leads. That's not the point. Where sales is won and lost is the middle set of prospects that could have and should have converted, and they didn't because of our poor execution. So we hit those milestones through those progression pathways, and just like I told you, more people end up moving on and attending discovery. More people go from discovery to proposal or solution presentation or demo. More people move on or close right after the solution presentation, or move on to negotiating or a close call. And our average not only has our conversion gone up, but our average revenue per sale has gone up and our sales cycle has gone down. Now it's all connected. We have control because of these series of variables. And if any company wants me to go hit goals for them, this is all we do. That's it. We put together the formula across these 4 areas, and it's like magic. And if we absolutely can't get there, we can now have that conversation like Scott always talks about. This is where we can get to where you want to. We can get there in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is. Fire me if you want to, right? Just kidding. But seriously, fire me if you want to. I'm the only one bringing you any sense of hope on what this is going to look like. Everybody else is just going to freaking put the bag over your head and just say, yeah, we'll do it one day. And then they never do. But so that's the connective tissue across all this stuff, guys. Bringing all this stuff together.
It's the exact reason why knowing that there's connective tissue throughout the entirety of this process as a seller, we need to start first with understanding what is going wrong. So you can be more proactive about tackling these things that are happening throughout the course of your sales process. So we're going to walk through an exercise now. I'm going to switch screens so we can get to the sheet, but I'm about to post something into the chat for everybody to jump into and make a copy of. David's going to walk through this as an example. And this is what we hope to be if we get positive responses from it and people are actually adopting this and using it. A staple of this weekly call, which is, I've never been on a LinkedIn Live or any sort of live training for that matter that actually gave reps a space to audit their performance and make decisive actions towards how to improve them. So that's really what the goal is with this exercise. Let's switch screen here.
This is also the part for Matt Cecilio, who had the question about how RevOps can help. This postmortem diagnosis is a perfect spot for RevOps to come in and help. You're analyzing data, you're producing insights, you're looking at speed and efficiency, coaching, enablement, all of these kinds of things. So if Matt is still here, pay attention to this sheet that Ryan just posted.
DB, you got me?
Yeah, it's a really good question, right, Scott? Because especially with revenue, right? At the end of the day, if we're missing numbers or only hitting a certain level, everybody in the organization starts to get concerned, right? And then everybody's like, well, how can we help? What can we do? What can we do? And most sales organizations are not set up operationally in a way to allow people into their world to say, here are the numbers, strategically speaking, here are the key, right? Here are the key problems to solve. Based on those problems, we're trying to figure this out. Do you have any ideas, right? That's the big thing. But if we do set it up this way, then we can play with everybody in the company. But the good thing is, as soon as we can play with everybody, we don't necessarily have to, because now I have control over my revenue cycle, right? I've got control over the results that we can get up against expectations with a much smaller variability in the plus minus to my results. But if we're not set up this way, it's all a guess, right, Matt? It's like everybody's just guessing. Everybody's got their eyes closed and they're just chucking darts. Not even at a dartboard, just at a wall. They don't even know if the dartboard is on the wall, right?
Bonnie, it only took me 45 minutes to share this tab.
Oh, good, man. You know me. I'll just keep rambling on and get on another tangent. And
I love you.
Yeah, and just to encourage everyone, if you have questions, I'll be keeping up with them. So keep them coming.
All right, we ready?
Let's rock.
All right, so this is the postmortem sheet. Okay, so we recommend every seller should be doing this every 30 days. Okay, now there's going to be one caveat on this. To be able to do your postmortem effectively, you actually have to start putting your deals into close lost. For you reps out there that have these inflated pipelines because you're holding on for dear hope that that deal from July is going to close by the end of October because they said Q4, but you haven't heard back from them for 5 weeks, let it go. It's okay. We're here to help you. I know it's going to suck, but that deal, it's not going to close. And all you're doing is creating a over-bloated pipeline that's giving you a false sense of security. And just like Ryan said, that's keeping you from doing whatever necessary at the top of the funnel to go generate the leads you need to ensure mathematically you absolutely can predictably hit your quota. I think this is a simulation if we really think about it. I think Elon's right. These numbers work out, guys. Give me 6 months of company performance around stuff, and I can predict where they're going to be at in the next 6 months because numbers just ring true. And then if there's macro level events, that's fine. And there's some slow decreases, and then we overcome it with strategy. But this is so predictable. Get rid of the deals in your pipeline that don't need to be there. Now, that doesn't mean don't follow up on them. Set that task, put them in that sequence, keep following up with them. That's fine. If they bubble back up, great. Add them back in, as long as you have the conversation with them on where the hell they went. But get them out of your pipeline. Drop them in the closed loss and move on.
Please, for the love of God, don't just switch the close date to the next month at the end of the month. Close. I love
it. Hey, so when's this going to close? October 31st. What about this one? Yeah, I think October 31st too. It's like the government gives every company 2 days a month to actually be able to make purchases, the 15th and the last day of the month. So every salesperson is just like all the way down, right? Come on. What are we doing, guys? As soon as you're doing that, it's the first sign that you've not controlled your sales process and the relationship and the conversation to understand who's involved, what they do to make the decision, what they need to be doing next, and you have a next meeting set up to follow up on that action. As soon as you throw over proposals, you're on the sideline, guys. They done subbed you out of the game, and now you get to watch the rest from the sidelines. Hey, let me know who wins. Thanks, guys. I hope we win. But you have zero control. You subbed yourself out by losing control over the deal. Okay, so you got to start putting stuff in closed loss, guys. It's okay. Get an accurate understanding of your pipeline. Now, when you do drop them into closed loss, what we want to do is you take this sheet, okay? You put them all the closed loss deals into column A right there. And then you apply the responsible fatality. And as you're applying the responsible fatality, what you're going to see is on the right-hand side, there's going to be a tally of fatalities. It almost rhymes. Dude, your poetry game is getting super strong. That was an Easter egg poem that you put in there for me. That's
I was
awesome.
fatality tally, and I was like, I don't know, my trivia.
I love me some alliteration. Okay, the tally of fatalities will give you the key area that you're struggling in the most. Which fatality is wreaking havoc on your pipeline the most? Okay. All right. So we do this. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, you don't know what the hell fatality to apply. They told you price, so you just put price, right? They told you product fit, so you just put product fit, when the whole time they had no intention of ever taking action on this to begin with. And they're just rattling off excuses to get the salesperson to go away, right? And then we're telling everybody in the organization, our price is too high, our price is too high, right? When the prospect doesn't have the urgency to take action, and that was our issue to begin with. So how do we actually rectify that? Well, now we've got the fatality decision tree, okay? The flow chart. You guys use this flow chart. It's a set of questions that will actually guide you through, okay, to the best of your knowledge, and be truthful on this because it's your own self-assessment, right? Where or which fatality is actually responsible. So we start off with, can you go the other way?
Yeah. Oh, you can't read microscopic?
Oh, these eyes are broken, bro. Oh, no. What are you doing to me? Okay. All right. So the first question is, he wants to mess with me. He thinks I'm that old man. I got to go take my pills right now. I'll be right back. You know, all that good stuff. My Saturday through Sunday pill bin. Okay. First question is, based on, to the best of your knowledge, okay, do you believe that based on the conversation and interaction that you had with them, do you believe that they're going to take action to solve the problem? either on their own or with a new outside solution? Did you feel the urgency? Did you feel the pain? Did you hear it? Hopefully in their answers, right? Once you're executing the system and the playbook that we've got. Okay, are they going to? If you don't feel like they are, boom. Sales Reaper stands right there. No, they're not going to take action. The fatality is timing. And I'm just going to tell you guys, the majority of deals are going to be timing. We've run all the data. We've been doing this for long enough. We have it all analyzed. This is by far the biggest issue that's killing deals across everybody's pipeline. People are entering in the process and they're just bowing out. Yeah, I got some information. Let's go solve something else. Bigger fires are burning, whatever it is, right? Because we didn't help them get clear on it, right? Okay, now if it's a yes, okay, then we ask ourselves a question: will they try to solve it on their own and not choose a new outside solution? Right? It's like, yeah, say we're something like marketing automation, CRM or something. Yeah, we've got HubSpot and da-da-da-da-da. It's been good for us. It's been good. We have this issues. We've got a consultant, but it's just frustrating us a little bit on this area and this area. So I just wanted to see what else is out there, right? And they're just not motivated or whatever it is. You know when they drop out, they're just staying with HubSpot. They don't want to change or whatever the example is, okay? All right? If that's the case, then boom, why did that happen, right? If it's a yes, we're going to go over to that left-hand side. Yep. And then we're going to ask ourselves the question, do they have the adequate budget for a solution? Now, if you don't know if they have the adequate budget, that's on you. But David, nobody ever tells us their budget. Date or a doctor visit. You go on a date and you ask them, so what kind of health insurance do you have? Like, what? What is it? Is this a long cane poly? Are you doing a risk assessment on me? Like, what the hell are you asking me that for? Right? You go to a doctor, if the very first question they ask you is, who do you have health insurance through? You'll give them the answer right away. Stop trying to court your prospects, create a doctor-like environment, try to help them solve their pain and their problems. Boom, you can now ask them these questions. And you should know the time to ask them too, which is a part of the process. Don't put it on yourself to figure, oh, I'm going to do it here. Oh, I'm going to do it there. Oh, I forgot. Dang it. Why? Have a playbook. We're professionals, right? Okay, so if they don't have adequate budget, bam, fatality's price. All right, if they do have adequate budget for it, right, do they have the competence to do it with their existing resources, either their internal team, right? Sometimes some solutions that we have, guys, are actually threatening to internal employees. And then all of a sudden you hear these internal employees clamoring, we can do this. We don't need an outside solution, right? Because they're trying to save their jobs, as an example, right? Sometimes you hear that stuff. Those people come on the calls and you can feel their resistance, and then they opt out of the process. And it's probably because those people ultimately won those conversations. All right, so if it's yes, bam, fatalities competition. Go ahead, Ryan.
Even before that, and I love to belabor this point, and I know you've made it already a couple of times, but the level of excitement that I wrote a post about this a couple of weeks ago. The level of excitement that so many salespeople get when they have identified a painful problem with a prospect, it can blind them to not understanding that the path of least resistance is just to solve the problem themselves. I always want to belabor that point because so many reps do not see competition as status quo or internal resources. And if you're getting too excited about the fact that, yes, you've identified a qualified opportunity and you think it's going to be an absolute slam dunk and you're not pressure testing this stuff, you are going to lose, especially in this type of macroeconomic environment when budgets are even tighter than they've ever been. You are going to lose those opportunities if you're not pressure testing this. I just wanted to belabor that like I always do.
Love it. Freaking love it. Yep. All right. So let's say now that's the end on this side. Now let's say that you don't believe that they're going to use an outside solution. So it's no. Okay. Well, did they actually choose your solution? Well, if yes, we'll go back and close the deal, silly. All right. But that probably didn't happen. Hopefully, if any of you guys are having those kind of problems and you're that early in the sales, in the sales game, chat us. We'll try to help get you up to speed a lot faster. But if they say, if the answer is no, Okay. Do you believe that they trust your past history of getting results? Past history? What do you mean? Do they even know your past history? Which doctor are you going to choose? The doctor that comes in and says, hey, this is the surgery that you need. We've been doing this for 5 years. This is why I started the practice. We've done this. This is typically the results. Here's where you're going to be at in 2 weeks. Or are you going to choose a doctor? It's like, we think it's this. I'm going to give this a shot. I've never done this before, but I think this is going to be a good first case for us. We're going to open you up, right? The scarring should be minimal, but when we do, we're going to go in there and I'm going to go shave some stuff and I'm going to go clip some stuff. I think that's going to get you there. Which doctor you should choose? Guys, I know we're all about like skulls and death here, but please do not choose the second doctor. We don't inflict that kind of pain on yourself, right? But are you even establishing yourself that way, right? Or are you just trying to give them a bunch of advice, right? The advice monster comes out throughout the call. Oh, we know what we're doing. Hey, you should be doing this. You should be doing that. And then they just go do it and ghost you. You're not the advice monster. Your job is not to give them answers. Your job is to usher them to an outcome that's not their default state. All right. So if they don't trust you, bam, trust is the issue. You guys are kind of new. I don't know. You guys get it. All right. Now, if you feel like they do trust your ability to get results, do they see how your solution is going to solve their problems? And if you guys aren't getting these temp checks throughout the entire presentation, shame on you. Here are the problems that we got aligned on. What questions do you have? What questions do you have? Do you see how it solves that problem? What questions do you have? Is your solution presentation even set up to do that? That's probably the biggest issue. The feature preachers, right? They don't want features. They want to solve their damn problems. Wow. Bleep that out. You need to ensure that you're being clear on this stuff. And if you're not, they probably don't understand how you're actually going to solve their problems. Bam, product fit is the issue if you've gotten all the way down to here. If they do understand how you're going to solve the problems, then you should be at a yes again. Go back and close the deal. So here's the flow chart that can take you through. And if you don't know the answer to these things, guys, that's a great indication that you're not running a sales process. It's putting you in control of the outcomes, the avoidance of these things that are going to kill us. All right, we were talking about pills. I exercise. I eat right. I do a bunch of things to not be dead. I do a bunch of things to not be just absolutely tired every day. We do this crap all the time to avoid fatality in life. Why don't we do this stuff in sales? Like, why isn't this a part of our game, guys? Why isn't this embedded in our industry? Ryan gets on me all the time, man. It's like we got this culture of these unicorns that sit atop Rainmaker Mountain, and they have the magic dust that gets people to buy, and all of us that don't sit atop the mountain, we scrape for the scraps, man. If you don't know how to do it, man, you just don't know how to do it. That's bogus. That's bogus. These systems should be in place. They should be in your hands. You should have the opportunity to control your results, control your destiny, the ripple effect of sales, the impact to markets, the impact to your family, the impact to your life is all there as soon as we take control over it.
DB, do you want to talk about how this could look or will look in future weeks if we have people that are interested in pressure testing stuff on the stream?
Yep. All right. So we are not here to just go on and on, guys. Like, I know I can get carried away on stuff, but we want to help you guys every freaking chance we get. And the only way to really do that is to actually look at your numbers. We need to do a health check. We need to understand what's going on. I can't stand trainings. Like right when we first start working with companies and we go in there and the sales reps are just like, what do you do with this company? They said they're going to go get 10 bids and we just need one of the 10 bids. How are you going to get over that, David? Why is that in your profession, dude? Like, what are you doing? I don't want to talk about the company trying to get 10 bids. Tell me about the company that only got 2 bids or 1 bid and you lost that deal. These vague conversations that we just as a culture get involved in are completely unproductive for your guys' success. Well, how do we flip that around? We're going to flip that around into actually being able to do a health check on you. We can do a postmortem on your month. We can see where you're hemorrhaging deals based on the fatality and based on the flow chart that we gave you. And based on those issues, we can actually then pour into you effectively, guys. We can give you stuff that we know is going to help you that you can go execute. So bring your numbers. Do this stuff. Do the freaking work. Understand why you're not healthy. Understand why you're not at the top of your freaking game. If you're hitting quota, great. You should be doing a lot more. You probably can do a lot more. Bring those numbers in here and we're going to help you. Go ahead.
And I talked to the jump about our focus on empowering individuals and empowering reps, because we believe that if we start with each person, we can have this massive ripple effect. We can also ascend opportunities then to help leaders as well. So we're doing, I'm going to put this up for this QR code at the top. So you can, the link in the chat is for creating a copy of that sheet. We're also doing sales autopsies for leaders. And we just ran one this morning. It was awesome. But just make sure if you're a leader, scan the QR code, set time with us, because we're doing this top down as well. Like, this is not a problem that is going to get solved without coordinated effort from leadership and individual contributors, point blank. All right. I guess last thing we want to do, because we're coming up on time, we want to show you the representation of all of this material and how it's culminated in this first episode of the Sales Reaper. Just again, for some more context, up until Halloween, every single Thursday, we are dropping a new episode of the Sales Reaper. And the point of this content is to make sure that we can not only entertain people with this really out of the box and different method for how we're getting this information in front of people, but also incorporate the material that David was just talking through into the content to keep people trained and entertained at the same time. And that's different than what's going on out there. The response that we've gotten over the last few weeks has been unbelievable, and it's only going to get better as we get further down the funnel, literally and figuratively speaking. So we just,
as you bring that up, just to give a little bit of the artistic stuff here, guys. Like, one of the things that goes on in sales is everybody outside of our department, they see it as this kind of high commission check, bro, kind of, frat culture, sorority culture kind of thing, and rainmaker clubs. And most people don't understand the pain and pressure that we go through, the losing, the self-doubt. We go through it all the time, but our optimistic culture, right? The only thing that takes us back to the phone to dial more. That optimistic culture kind of suppresses this, but this stuff is real, guys. It is absolutely real, and we need to be able to talk about it a little bit more. A lot of times sales is really about lost deals, missed quotas, lost jobs, bankrupt companies, and that's the reality of this pressure game that we're in. Okay, and there's two sides of this thing. There absolutely is, and it's okay that we talk about it.
All right, after this, so we're going to play this first episode. That'll bring us to the end of the stream, but just come back next week, noon Central Time, same place. And of course, download these resources, send us DMs, give us feedback, but we're excited for you to check this out. Thank you all for showing up, and we're excited for next week already.
And help spread the word.
Hell yeah.
Fear the Reaper.
As a new member of our family here at Darwin Financial, we're excited for you to join us on our mission to disrupt fintech, and that disruption starts with you. Sales is the most critical role for our macro-level strategic plan, and you could play a vital part in our pursuit of an IPO. If you have what it takes to be one of our top performers, you'll earn your chance to dive into success at our Rainmaker Sales Retreat. Finish in the top 10 of our company stack rankings for the year, and we'll whisk you away to join the entire executive team in beautiful Bora Bora, a full-week vacation with all expenses paid at the most beautiful golf resort on the island. Will you still have to hit quota that month? You sure will, because you're a Rainmaker, and you're the one who keeps the lights on.
I couldn't get it done. His company is bankrupt and I had a chance to save it. But then everything went sideways.
Dear Harper, we have decided to go in a different direction. We appreciate your time in this process.
Harper, sorry for the delay. After our board meeting last week, we decided we're going to pause for now. I'll reach back out in Q2. Thanks.
It was only 12 months ago that it felt like we were unstoppable as a company. And then I found out the truth.
Harper, I over-leveraged the business to accelerate our growth. I need you to close these 2 deals or I'm going to lose everything.
They were giving all of the buying signals. I still don't understand why both of those deals didn't close, especially Jackson Trading. That one was so critical.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Harper, I need to talk to you as soon as possible. I'll be at our usual meeting place.
I don't understand, Fitz. Elliot was going on and on about seeing some Reaper in the meeting we had before we lost Jackson Trading. I'm worried he's losing it.
Why did they say they weren't moving forward?
They just changed their tune all of a sudden. Said they're going to put it off until Q2. 6 months, Fitz? Anyone in sales knows what that really means.
Timing. His favorite fatality.
Fatality? What are you talking about?
Harper, Elliot wasn't imagining things in that boardroom. The sales reaper is real. After the stock market crash of 1929, a prominent financier by the name of Victor Greaves was commissioned in the afterlife to uphold the sacred code of commerce. To uphold this code, he sabotages any deal that breaks it, from inside the minds of key decision-makers. He does this using something called the 5 fatalities. And of these fatalities, timing is his most beloved.
You're telling me some spirit is going around killing sales deals because we're all breaking some code no one ever told us about?
Yes, Harper. A lack of clarity on timing specifically violates the first milestone of the code. Do they need to act? When we don't get clear on the pain our prospects will experience if their problems continue to go unsolved, we leave the door open for the Reaper to convince them that other problems are more urgent priorities.
So this Reaper killed the deal just because I didn't get clear on their pain?
Yes. Most salespeople are too uncomfortable leading their prospects through a conversation that explores the dark, painful realities they will experience if nothing changes.
I was trying to build a relationship with them, Fitz, not make them feel terrible about the state of their business.
I understand, but they needed your help, not your optimism. This ambiguity about their pain played right into the sales reaper's hands. Because of it, he was fully able to tempt Jackson Trading into rationalizing their problems. That rationalization led them into a state of avoidance of the very problems you were trying to help them solve. That avoidance ultimately paved the way for them not to act.
I feel so defeated.
Please don't be, Harper. I'm in part to blame for this. I should have come to you about the Code of Commerce as soon as I learned of it. A set of sacred sales texts lay out in detail each one of the milestones. It is my hope that with the help of you and your unusual gift, we can deconstruct these texts and finally put a stop to the Reaper.
I'm sorry, Fitz. I can't help you. I don't think I'm cut out for sales anymore. We all worked on those proposals. We all felt great about it. But in the end, it's on me. There's this unbelievable amount of pressure we shoulder for a company that others don't really understand. It's like, as salespeople, everyone expects us to put people under some magic spell so they automatically buy. Well, I don't have any magic power, Fitz. It was my job to get those deals over the line. And I failed.